Good morning, students. Morning. We'll wait for a minute. The students are joining. That's why I thought I should wait for a minute or two. Whether the PPT is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
I think in the previous session, we started with the discussion on the vision. So, vision is a picture which is a replica of what the entrepreneur thinks about. They are the broader aspects which articulates the ideal description of where the firm wants to be in future. They are rooted with the core aspirations or values of the firm, and they are enduring. Enduring means they are broader in concept and they are sustainable. That is, in the long range where the company would like to see itself. That is what is the vision statement. It's a short and concise statement, but it includes a broader picture of the organization. Now, moving ahead with the same aspect. What exactly the vision should be and what should not be. So, what all should come into a vision statement and what should not be the emphasis given by the organization or by the companies. So an organization should have a character of core values and principles. Now here, if you just take the name of the entrepreneurs, like if you think of the Tata Group, okay, you relate the core values and principles with the person who headed the organization. Or if I say Infosys, then you somewhere connect with the core values and principles of the organization. And in front of you, even the person who headed, who started the firm, comes in front of you. You can visualize the uh, principles or core concepts. If I say Walmart, if I say Reliance, okay, when I take the name of the brand or the groups, okay, then somewhere we try to connect them with the organization character. The core values of the organization come in front of us, and even the principles which govern the organization. So, whenever one thinks of having the vision statement, it should have the connections with the core values of the organizations and principles. For example, if you want to be into the customer service, so we value the customers, to customer satisfaction. So everything comes into this, that you are giving prime importance to the customers, and whatever possible means is there to achieve this, the company is going to take the efforts to fulfill this particular vision of the organization. The ultimate source of priorities, plans, and goals. So here, uh, it should be able to reflect the priorities of the organization, what are the plans of the organization, and the long term goals. Now, when the company will achieve, how it is going to achieve, is not discussed in this vision. The vision is just what it wants to be, where it wants to move ahead. So here we can say it's a destination ahead which the company thinks of. A company wants to be a market leader through, or maybe just market leader. Okay, if we say market leader, then the company cannot just like that be a market leader. It has to have some priorities, some plans, strategic moves, or goals formulation to achieve the market leader position. So here in single sentence, they just specify. Similarly, it should not, a vision statement should not be just a high concept statement, motto, or just a literary advertising slogan. So here, one should not think of vision as just a advertising slogan where the people just read it and forget it. No, it should depict the connection with the organization. That is what is expected. Also, a vision should not be a strategy or a plan and a view from the top management point of view. Just many a times, uh, one can think of having a strategic move or a plan, a statement which a top management issues. No, that should not be the case. They should be well coined and well defined here, because they are the foundations for the organization. They are the pillars of the organization. A vision should be a puller, not a pusher into the future. So, a puller, that is, it should motivate to move towards the future. It should not be a pusher, means there should not be force enclosed in that statement. It should involuntarily be imbibed into everybody, those who are connected with reference to that organization. Also, a vision is a determination and publication of what makes a person unique, or we can say what makes a company unique here. So, when the company is determined, it takes the cognizance of the society of the people through emphasizing the better options to serve the society. When the vision statements communicates to the masses about its existence through serving the society. The company is determined to serve the society or serve the people with some unique aspects. Then the people will realize the organization. It should not be just a history of proud past. Okay, maybe there may be proud moments for the organization, and the vision just rests on the pillar. It should not happen like that. It should go hand in hand with the changing trends of the organization. That's why we say it is a broader statement, which, irrespective of any changes in the business climate, should be able to sustain. It is a declaration of independence also. It should not be a soft business issue, or, it should not be passionless. There should be the reflection of passion or a zeal or a zest in that vision statement. When the people they go through the vision statement, they should feel, it should be inspiring, it should be motivating. Whenever the employees in the organizations they read, they should feel the sense of belongingness towards that organization. Now, if we think of benefits, why one should have this vision statement, why one should go for the vision, first and foremost thing is good visions, they are inspiring. Many a times, an employee or a manager at any level, okay, many a times there may not be a map in between what the person is thinking and where the company is heading. So these vision statements they are inspiring for them to keep them on the track so that there are no deviations or divergence in the thought process, in the day-to-day activities, routine activities. Suppose if the vision of the organization is to serve the society by offering them good quality products, or by uh, including techno-savvy products. Uh, if you think of a company like Philips, where they give emphasis on the technology, where it is expected that new technology or new idea generation is welcoming, then it is inspiring for the employees also, for the managers also, that one can have the idea generation for the organization to think of new offerings or products with the innovative ideas. They here understand that including the new technology in the product portfolio or coming up with the idea generation will be welcomed by the organization, because the organization rests on the pillar of innovation. So here there will not be any inhibitions from their side. They will come forward. So it inspires. Vision represent a discontinuity or a step function or a jump ahead so that the company knows what is to be done. So here, moving ahead, they show you a roadmap on how the managers should move ahead, especially during the critical phases or challenging phases. So once you have the roadmap where you have to head in day-to-day routine activities, the manager has to think about many decisions where there is a trade-off between two or three options, and the manager has to decide maybe revenues or profits at one side and compromising the quality on the other side. Okay. Third is the customer satisfaction. So all of these are interlinked. Suppose if the company is thinking, suppose if the manager is thinking of um, offering product, low quality product at a cheaper cost to the customer, no doubt they will gain more customer. But what is the vision that, suppose if the company has a vision that we uh, sell the best quality products, or our emphasis is on quality, then there is a problem, because here the companies or the manager is thinking from the revenue side. So this should not happen. So when you have such type of vision clarity, it becomes easier. So here the question of trade-off doesn't come, because quality is the first priority. Maybe revenue generation will come with satisfaction of customers through offering them best quality products. So uh, whenever there are such trade-off decisions to be made, these vision statements keep the managers on toes and make them to think about their conscience, which is very important, especially for the managers, those who are at the critical positions. Now, good vision helps in the creation of common identity and a shared sense of purpose. So here, when you have the common identity, common reflection, when the company uh, communicates a common purpose, so everybody has a clear view or clear motive where exactly one has to head. There are no ifs and buts. There is no mismatch. There is no question or doubt in the mind of the managers. So here we say it's a shared sense of purpose. Good visions, they are competitive, they are original and unique. Now here in this competitive era, in this competition, if anybody wants to sustain, the vision statements have to be unique. They should be distinct from the other competitors. Here, a company has to show itself or portray itself as being genuine and original, so that the customers or the people or for the society, the stakeholders get convinced. So these statements make sense in the marketplace as they are practical. So there should not be anything which heads you towards a dream. One can have the dreams, but achievable objectives or achieving them practically should also be the possible aspects. Now, good vision fosters long-term thinking. So here, I told you that maybe even the trends change, the technology changes, but the basic core motive remains the same. Therefore, the vision statement should be built in such a fashion where it can, irrespective of any of the business changes, should be able to sustain. Good vision also represents integrity. They are truly genuine and they can be used to for the benefit of people or the society. Now here, whenever the businesses, they start exploring. The stakeholders are a very important aspect of it. So, with this good vision, where the core values are attached, where the principles are attached, even the stakeholders are aware of these core values and principles, which is reflected in the vision statement. So, here, maybe some companies they are stressing only on profit driven, that is, they want to gain revenues, slash the prices at the average quality, enter the market, penetrate the market through market skimming strategy. That may be one motive. And against that, maybe be, uh, there may be a company, okay, which emphasis on quality, and quality is one of the very important aspect, and maybe the prices are quoted at a higher side, the prices are maybe on a higher side, but the quality of the offering or the product is not at all compromised. So here it depends upon the ideology of the company. So this is about the benefits of this vision. Now, the process of envisioning. Now, well-conceived vision consists of major two components. When we spoke about the core values or the principles, okay, it somewhere is the reflection of core ideology of the company. This core ideology has to be enduring in spite of any changes in the technical aspects, the competitions, the management structures, any of the new patterns, the fads from the customer's point of view. So here it should be able to sustain. It rests on the pillars of the core values and the core purpose why the organization is in the business. It rests on the pillars of the core values and core purpose. Now, organization use the terms like corporate philosophy, corporate values, communicate what they stand for and what principles guide them in strategizing and in routine discussions. So here, when the core values or the ideologies, the principles are very precise and accurate, then it helps in defining the score of the vision. Now, core ideologies reflect the core values and the core purpose of the existence of the organization, and the envisioned future has the implications with reference to long-term goals or the broad descriptions to be achieved. So here, when the company thinks about the future or the futuristic vision, where it wants to head. So here it should include a broad description of the dreams or the aspirations to be included in the vision. While vision is forward looking, moving ahead, it is the view of what an organization wishes to achieve, to become in future. Mission is what an organization is and why it exists. What is the purpose of the organization coming into force or coming into existence? Now, here there are the three questions which are to be analyzed by considering the need of the society that any organization serves to fulfill. Like, what is our business? What it will be and what it should be. Now, here the core is the satisfaction of the need of the customers or the society in fulfillment of why the organization exists or why the businesses exist. Now, mission is a statement which defines the role of that organization it plays in the society. It refers to the catering to the needs of the societies. Now, Thompson defines mission as the essential purpose of the organization concerning particularly why it is in existence, the nature of businesses it is in, and the customer it seeks to serve and satisfy. Now, here, if you think of this definition, the purpose of the organization, why it exists, what is the type or the nature of its business, and how it would like to serve the customers. Now, Hunger and Whelan say that mission is the purpose or reason for the organization's existence. That is why actually the organization exists is to be defined by the mission statement. Now, usually entrepreneurs lay down the corporate philosophy which the organization follows in its strategic and operational activities, that is in day-to-day activities. So here many a times the entrepreneurs themselves define the core values. The foundations are laid by the entrepreneurs, those who started the organization. And it is expected that at each and every step, from the corporate to the operational activities, functional activities, these missions have to be achieved or mapped with the day-to-day routine businesses, maybe through any department, any unit, or any functional unit. Mission statements are also formulated on the basis of vision of that entrepreneur who decides in the initial stages of an organization growth. Also, the chief executives play a very vital role in formulation of mission statement. Many a times they where the entrepreneur does not think of having himself laying down the foundations. Maybe chief executives of the companies are involved for a corporate giants, for a very big company, maybe those who have many strategic business units, they can think of having the committees, executive committees set up, and they can have a brainstorming session within themselves and they discuss the pros and cons of every mission statement, and in totality come up with the mission statements which are given a go ahead by all of the managers. Many a times the consultants are also hired just to frame the mission statements. Now, framing a mission statement is not an easy task. It has to be unique in this competitive world. It has to reflect the foundations or core values. So, just relying on the 50 words or slogan for advertising will not make a sense here. That's why many of the companies, those who take a very serious note of the mission statement, they hire the experts or the consultants who are paid for this job. Now, once the uh, company defines its mission statement, communicating mission statement is also as important as formulating it. This mission statement has to be communicated through a proper channel to all the stakeholders, to the masses, to the employees, to each and every person or object involved with the company. A mission statement, once formulated and communicated, has to serve for many years. So, here the futuristic view has to be taken into consideration when one thinks of coining the mission statements. As the organization moves ahead and the trends change, the organization grows, the statement can be reconsidered. Many of the organizations have done that also. But the tenure should not be very less, wherein each and every time the company thinks of reconsidering the mission statement. That should not happen. It should have its proper life cycle or maybe sustainability, we can say, for the statement to exist. Now, coming to the characteristics of a mission statement. A mission statement reflects the corporate philosophy or the identical character and the image of an organization. So, whenever the mission statement is formulated, here it reflects the corporate philosophy or it depicts the core values or the foundations of the organization. The identity, it reflects the identity of the organization, face of the organization. So, as I gave you some examples in the start, similarly, when the people just go through this mission statement, they should be able to connect with some of the attributes of the organization. In order to be effective, a mission statement should possess certain characteristics. They should have certain characteristics. Now, what are the characteristics of the mission statement? The mission statement should be feasible. Now, feasible, the company may have more ambitions, more aspirations, but they should also see to it that they should not aim for the impossible statements. The aim should be achievable practically. That's why we say it should be feasible. It should be realistic and achievable. So here, when you think of having the statement, the person who reads it should be able to understand that the statements are not just the combination of framing of beautiful words, but they should also be realistic on the grounds. The company should be on the grounds and see to it that the whatever it is been said or promised is achievable. It should be precise. Many a times, if the mission statements are very long and very lengthy, encompassing more of the attributes, it becomes confusing for the organization as well as the people. It should neither be very narrow, it should not be very broad also. If it is very much broad, it encompasses more terms, then there is a confusion. If it is very narrow, too narrow for the employees only to understand, that should not be the case. That's why there should be clarity and they should be up to the mark, to the point and precise. So it should be clear. There should not be any ambiguities. Ambiguity term should be used where there is a scope for confusion, or maybe the people are not able to understand by just having a look at it or by just reading the statements. It should not happen. It should give the proper clarity. It should be motivating. The mission statements, many times you see that on the websites, the mission statements are displayed, or in the units, sub-units at the corporate level, at the functional level. On the boards, the vision, the mission statement, they are written. Why they are written? Because just having a look at those and reading it should motivate a person, maybe an employee, a manager, or any of the stakeholders. For stakeholders to develop a sense of trust and faith for the company, or maybe for the investor. It matters a lot. That's why it should be motivating. It should be distinctive. Now, here, whenever one reads of this statements, it should not be a replica of some other business. That is what it is expected. Here, it should have its own stand, own unique identity, because there are competitors. They may have their own. Copying should not be done where there is a problem with the perception of the masses of the people. Many a times people compare and they should not feel the similarity aspect. That is what it means, that it should be distinctive. It should indicate major components of strategy. Now here, vision is a broader aspect. Mission is more towards achieving it or implementing the things. So here, it should be it should indicate the components of strategy, means how the company is going to achieve the broader vision. So practically, what are the steps the company is going to take? The strategic plan should be depicted in the mission statements. It should indicate how objectives are to be accomplished or achieved. Now, when the company thinks of increasing the market share through customer satisfaction, here, achieving the market share is the objectives. Okay. How? That is through customer satisfaction. But how the customer would be satisfied? Whether by giving proper service, by offering quality goods, by offering them at an affordable price, or by offering technology driven product, good quality and technology driven product. So these are the answers to the how to question. Okay. Now it depends upon the company what all the company thinks of or includes in the mission statement. Here, business definition using Abel's three dimensions. That is the dimensions of business definitions. Now, Derek Abel, in a path-breaking analysis, he suggests that defining businesses alone along the three dimensions, okay, of customer groups, customer functions, and alternative technologies. So, based upon these three dimensions, the businesses should be able to define themselves. The first is the customer groups who are being satisfied by the organization. Second is the customer functions, which are based on what the products or services are provided for the customers and answers to what is being satisfied, what is offered, and what is being satisfied. And third is the alternative technology, which describes the manner in which a particular function can be performed for a customer and describes how the need is being satisfied. Now, the what question of the business definition deals with the customer needs. Now, if you think of basic needs for the customer, it is with reference to, we have seen it in the OB part, Maslow's laws. Okay. The basic thing they need is the food, shelter, water, etc. And as we move through the higher order needs, the end part is where the needs are with reference to self-esteem, social status. So these needs have to be taken into consideration while offering the products. When the company is thinking of defining the businesses and the need fulfillment of customers, they need to think about these aspects. The products are designed and offered to satisfy the need of the customer. The businesses, they own the revenues by customer satisfaction. They are into the businesses to satisfy the customer. If the customer is satisfied on an average level, maybe there are repeat purchases, or the customer may shift for better satisfaction levels. If the more value the customer derives from the offerings, they meet the expectations, then they are satisfied. If the value derived is much more broader than the expectation of the customers, then the customer is delighted. Here, we say that the companies or the businesses involved into offering of value and not only the products or services. The value part is more important because always the customer is comparing or thinking about what he is paying and what he is getting in return. When the prices are quoted at a higher level, the customer expects that much level of value to be included in that offerings or the service package. Who refers to customer groups based on the needs, and how refers to the alternative technologies used to provide goods and services that satisfy the needs of the customer groups. Now, if you take, for example, an example of a watch, okay, the customer groups are individual customers and the industrial users. For example, if you think of having the time learnings, the customer functions are of finding time, recording time, using watches as a heart rate monitor, fashionable accessory, a gift item, or a piece of article. And alternate technology includes the mechanical part, the quartz, the digital, the analog, the types which are offered. So here, by defining all these three dimensions, the company is placing the offering, or it is offering the product to the end customers by taking this into consideration. So one can think of having the convergence of all the three aspects or three dimensions: the customer groups, the customer functions, and the alternate technologies to serve the customers' needs and ultimately to satisfy their needs. Now, levels at which the business could be defined. The businesses could be defined at the corporate level or the strategic business unit level. Now, if the firm is much more smaller, okay, it is smaller, it is confined to only single business, then there is no question of having more levels. At the firm level, it has a single level, we can say here. But when we think of large diversified companies which operate into several businesses, they have different, each organization with reference to that sector serves as its own strategic business unit when the company is diversified. So, at corporate level, with the wider meaning of customer groups, customer functions, and alternative technologies, taking these three aspects, a common framework is defined. So, for a highly diversified company organized on a divisional basis, could benefit by having a business definition covering all the three dimensions. But at strategic business unit level, each individual division can have their own business definition. So, coming down at a strategic business unit level, each of the unit or each of the firm can have their own business definition. For example, when the firm engages in activities outside the domain of its business definition, it generally faces the accompanying risk of adding new businesses, divisions, or products which is not related to its current activities and varied from its corporate identity. But if various acquisition, growth, and diversification plans of the company, if they are linked to through a business definition, it results in considerable amount of synergy. For example, acquisition or diversification could be guided by whether the acquired or new entity fits in its overall business definition. Now, here, if you take an example of LG Electronics, which had tried to change the positioning. Now, LG India was guided by a health platform in positioning its offerings, like air conditions that do not just cool but discharge fresh air, or television screens that prevent eye strain, or refrigerators that offer antibacterial benefits in a tough and competitive FMCG goods market. So, health for LG is the customer function offered that is expressed in slogan of life's good. Along with LG slogan, the company also planned to inject warmth into marketing communication by focusing the theme that it's all possible. So here the business definition offers unique insights into companies operating in competitive markets where the customer is eternal or the focus of the firm. The importance of Abel's approach lies in defining the businesses which are being marketed and they are more customer oriented. So here the customer-oriented approach is followed rather than a product-oriented approach. The next is the product or the service concept. Like the business have their own definitions, the product or the service concept has implications for the strategic management. The product or the service concept is the way in which the company assesses or you can say evaluates the user's perception towards the product or the service. A product or a service concept, when it is carefully and innovatively coined or defined, it can prove to be more of significance to the managers at various phases. Define the strategies. The companies are driven by marking competitive edge in the market, where they have many competitors in this today's competitive era. Marketers try to define themselves by differentiation. They focus on high technology driven businesses and offerings. The offerings are simply transistent intermediate mechanisms through which the marketers derive value from the company and the company derives value from the market. So ultimately, explicit business definition and a product or service concept, they are very much powerful tools in the hands of the management to move ahead with the strategic management. So the companies think of coming up or molding up with more of the strategies. When the company thinks of having the offerings or the service concept, maybe there are certain ideas, maybe certain experiences which are to be marketed. So here, the company thinks of innovatively positioning, reframing, and targeting these offerings in the competitive market. They try to find their own scope through finding the gaps and satisfying the customers. Now, any doubts here? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? So whether you have understood this part?
Yes,
These dimensions. So in today's era, if you see specifically, I taken an example of LG Electronics. All the technology-driven products, okay, are based upon the concept of Abel's 3 dimensions today. If you think from the new era of Internet of Things era, today it's the era of Internet of Things, where technologies are connected with the physical objects, where there is no human intervention, and with the digital mode, it has become much more convenient for the organizations to define themselves with reference to the business groups or the business models. So in the next session, we will discuss about the business models. Okay, today we will stop here.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.